Something was wrong with his relationship with his mom. I thought he was a mama's boy, the kind people joke about, the kind that grows out of it. What he was instead was trained. Nothing in his apartment was random. Every object faced the same direction. Shoes lined up by size, towels folded the way his mother did them. Even the trash was tied the same way every time. I didn't notice at first because he called it routine, discipline, respect. The first red flag wasn't him, it was her. She knew things before I said them. When I planned to leave early, when we argued, when I cried in the bathroom, she'd call him afterward every time, like she felt the shift in the air. I found the notebook while looking for batteries, dates, times, observations, what I ate, when I slept, how long I stayed mad, notes about my compliance and emotional volatility. My name was crossed out halfway through the book. Under it was another name, then another. Every woman before me had her own section. All of them ended the same way. The last page wasn't about me. It was about him. How well he listened, how quickly he corrected behavior, how proud she was of the progress. I heard the lock turn. He stood in the doorway, calm, holding the notebook like he already knew I'd find it. And behind him, in the hallway mirror, I saw her reflection, smiling. Not because I'd figured it out, because it meant I was ready for the next step. I didn't leave all at once. I stopped existing in pieces. It started with small refusals. I stopped reacting to her name when it came up in conversation. I stopped adjusting my schedule around his guilt. I stopped explaining myself. Every time I pulled back, he didn't push forward. He froze. Like a system waiting for input, it wasn't authorized to generate on its own. That was when I understood something important. I wasn't being controlled directly. I was being filtered. Everything between us passed through her first, even when she wasn't physically there. Her influence had already been internalized. He didn't need instructions in real time. He anticipated them. I paid attention after that. Really paid attention. The way he hesitated before agreeing to plans, like he was checking an invisible list. The way his opinions softened mid-sentence, if they drifted too far from something she would approve of. The way disagreement made him anxious, not angry. Anger would have required a sense of entitlement he didn't have. The apartment told the story better than he ever could. Nothing personal. No mess. No evidence of growth or chaos or change. It felt less like a home and more like a preserved environment, as if deviation was a risk. I found more notebooks, not hidden, filed. Different handwriting styles over time, but the same voice, her voice. Observations refined across years. Early entries were about control through fear. Later ones emphasized guilt, praise, emotional reward, evolution of technique, notes about what worked best at different ages, what behaviors needed reinforcement, what independence looked like before it could be redirected. This wasn't obsession. It was methodology. He wasn't the only subject. She documented herself too, her reactions, her tone, her mistakes, adjustments made after resistance. It read like a case study written by someone who believed love was something you engineered. And the most disturbing part wasn't that she did it. It was that he agreed with it. He defended her without being prompted, rationalized the invasiveness, explained away the control as care. The same way someone defends a routine they've never questioned because questioning it would mean rebuilding their entire understanding of safety. When I finally told him I was leaving, there was no fight, no begging, no anger. He nodded, not in acceptance, in recognition. Like this moment had already been accounted for. He told me she'd be disappointed. Not heartbroken, not sad, disappointed, as if I'd failed an exam I didn't know I was taking. I realized then that my role was never to stay. It was to test the limits of the conditioning, to apply pressure, to expose weaknesses, to prove the system worked. And when it did, I was no longer necessary. After I left, the narrative changed fast. I became emotional, unstable, difficult, not dangerous enough to be feared, just unreliable enough to be dismissed. The kind of woman people nod sympathetically about while quietly discrediting. It worked because it always does. He moved on quickly, not because he healed, but because healing would have required grief. And grief would have required separation. The new woman fit better, less resistant, more agreeable. She laughed at the jokes I questioned. She admired the closeness I challenged. She mistook structure for stability. I recognized the signs immediately, the early praise, the inclusion, the subtle undermining of independence framed as concern. The way she was slowly folded into a dynamic she didn't understand yet. I thought about warning her. I didn't, because warnings only work if someone is allowed to listen. Months later, I ran into him by accident. He looked the same. Same posture, same expression, same careful neutrality. No visible damage, no growth either. Just maintenance. He told me he was happy. I believed him. Happiness was never the issue. Happiness was compliance rewarded. I asked him one question, not about his mother, not about the relationship, about himself. He didn't answer. He smiled instead. That told me everything. People think the disturbing part of these stories is the control, or the manipulation, or the blurred boundaries. They're wrong. The disturbing part is how clean it all is, how functional, how little chaos it creates, how easily it hides behind normalcy. There was no dramatic escape, no confrontation that shattered the illusion, no justice moment, no apology. There was just clarity. He wasn't trapped. He was preserved. And I wasn't discarded because I was weak. I was discarded because I was unnecessary. The system didn't need me anymore. I didn't survive something monstrous. I walked away from something efficient. And the scariest part is knowing it's still working.